Hello and welcome to our monthly orientation training for OU Campus. My name is Barb McQuillan and I'm a software trainer over here at OmniUpdate. In this session, we're going to overview some basic end user functions. During this presentation, I'll be working in a sandbox environment, but if you are an existing customer, you can follow along in your own instance as the platform functionalities will be the same. I'll be logged in as a level 8 user, so please be aware that depending upon your user level and individual user permissions, you may be restricted from some of the functionalities I'm going to be showing you today. During the presentation, all participants will be in listen-only mode as the session is being recorded. If you have a question during the presentation, you may submit it by clicking in the Q&A section located at the bottom of your screen. Please note the Q&A section may not be available if you're viewing this webcast through the browser. You may need to install and view the webcast through the Zoom extension for access to the Q&A section. I will attempt to address your questions as we go along, and there will be a Q&A section at the end of the presentation where I will answer as many remaining questions as time allows. If I don't get a chance to answer your question during the webcast, I will email an answer to you afterwards. With that said, let's go ahead and begin. So my plan for today, we're going to talk about a lot of these basic end user functions. So how do you go ahead and log into OU Campus, a little overview of the interface. We'll talk about some basic editing. We'll talk about creating new content as well as uploading content. And then finally, we'll have a Q&A at the end. So let's just dive right in. I'm currently looking at my sandbox environment here. So one of the great things about OU Campus is that you do not need to log into a central location and then get dropped off at a dashboard when you log in. We use something called a direct edit link. It allows you to navigate to a live page and log in from there. So let's say, hovering over academics, maybe I'm the librarian. I'm responsible for this library page. I'm going to go to that live page, and scrolling down to the bottom, the direct edit link right here on my site is this last updated date. So your particular site or implementation may be a little bit different. Sometimes I've seen schools will use, say, the copyright symbol. I've seen some schools have kind of decorative coloration in their footer. They'll use that instead. I've seen some schools that even just have a transparent box in the corner. So no visual cues at all, but it's there and their editors know about it. Clicking on that last updated date, it'll prompt me to go ahead and log in. That's not my name at all. Perfect. And you're going to see this is the benefit of using that direct edit link to log in. Notice I'm already on the library page here. So by navigating to my live page on the live site, I can log in directly there, get dropped off exactly where I want it to be, make edits, changes, publish out changes, and go from there. All right, so a quick overview of what we're looking at here. Up across the top, I have this big blue bar. That's my global navigation bar. It allows me to navigate through the system. Directly underneath that, I do have my breadcrumb. Over here on the right-hand side, I can see the site that I am in is called Galena. If your particular institution has more than one site, this actually becomes a drop-down, so you can toggle between the different sites. Over on the left-hand side, this breadcrumb tells me where I am inside the OU Campus system. So I'm inside content, inside the pages section. I'm inside a folder called academics, and I landed on this page called library. So I'm already kind of 4 levels deep in the system by using that direct edit link. Directly underneath that, these big buttons here, these are my page actions toolbar. Clicking on preview, I'm going to see a preview of this page and what it would look like if it was rendered out on my live site. So just a nice quick way to be able to see that full page. Clicking on edit, you're going to notice the page looks very similar, just a couple of additions here. I'm seeing these big green buttons. These are my editable regions. Clicking on those is going to highlight a certain section of the page and allow me to edit it as if I had like a word processor. Source will show me source code. Properties will show me a couple of additional options we'll talk about in just a minute, but what I want to call out to you guys first is this little light bulb. My light bulb here is part of my check-in and check-out system. So when you're working on a page inside OU Campus, if you are trying to edit it, the page needs to be checked out to you. It essentially locks that page to you and makes sure that no one else can start editing the page at the same time. It's a safety precaution just to make sure that any changes or edits that are being done when I'm about to publish the page, I don't accidentally publish out something that's halfway finished because someone else is on the page. Clicking this light bulb, notice it turns on for me, and notice I get some additional buttons here. These extra buttons here are shown because I now own the page, so there's more things that I can do with it. Clicking the light bulb one more time checks it back into the system. It is now available for anybody to check out and start working with. So the system is pretty smart. So if I ever put myself into a situation where I would start editing, the page will automatically check out to me. So for example, this is my main content region. By clicking on the button, it'll open up that editing view. Watch what happens with my light bulb. My light bulb automatically turns on here. The page is now locked to me. So opening up this editable region, you're going to see I essentially just have this div highlighted, and I still see the rest of the page behind it. This is our Just Edit toolbar. All of my individual toolbar options here are available to me. Hovering over them, I get a little bit of a pop-up that just lets me know what it does. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So the editing process here, very similar to anything you've done before, just in working with any kind of Word program. So let's say I wanted to put, say, an additional heading up here at the top. So maybe I wanted to kind of name whose library this is. So this is the Barbara McQuillan Library. I can make this that larger font by turning it into a heading. So I'm going to click and hold and highlight the text. And then from my toolbar, I have this little drop down. Right now it says paragraph. I'm going to head down in this list and choose heading 2. Makes it a little bit bigger for me. I can easily add additional content. I can remove content. Maybe we no longer have an online catalog, so I'm just going to take that whole sentence out. I can also make changes to the formatting of this different pieces. So you're going to notice here I do have buttons for bold, italic, and underline. I can easily bold, italicize, or underline as appropriate. One of the other great things about our editor is that your keyboard shortcuts still work. So if you're one of those people who knows every keyboard shortcut for everything in the entire world, they'll still work in here. So Controller Command B is bold, Controller Command I is italicize, and Controller Command U is underline. Perfect. So I've made a handful of different changes here. The editor itself is a WYSIWYG type, and the word WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. So in placing my header over here, and I still have my image over here, and it's still lined up over here, what I'm seeing here is what it will render as on my live site. So there's no more guesswork in it, no more trying to figure out, well, will it actually be there, or does it now get kicked to the next line? What's going on? This is what's going to happen. Upper left-hand corner, I have a little floppy disk button for save and exit. It'll go ahead and render on the page so I can see it sitting there. That's exactly what it looked like before. So it all sits the way I expected it to. Perfect. All right, so the changes that I've just made live here inside OU Campus. They're not on my live site. This has to do with the unique structure of OU Campus. It is considered a decoupled system, meaning that the editing experience, this OU Campus, lives in a separate location than the production server that hosts your live website. Any adjustments or changes that I do inside OU Campus will live here, and it's not until I hit that publish button or submit it to the next person for approval and then they publish it that it'll actually push out to my live site. So you're going to notice there may be some things here inside OU Campus that are different than what's on my live site. And there are going to be times where I may want to just see the two differences. I have a button up here called Versions. And this is going to give me a whole listing of all of the different versions of the page. Versions are automatically created when I hit Publish. So as you can see here, this page has been used pretty frequently in our previous monthly orientations. This line that's highlighted green, that's the one that's live. I can see all the way on the right-hand side, it tells me which published target it's live at. So if your institution has more than one published target, you'll be able to see which one this particular version is live on. Hovering over it, I get some additional options. If I hover over View and click Page, it's literally just going to open this live page in a new tab. So I could easily just kind of do a back and forth to take a look. But I like the Compare function. Hovering over Comparing and go to Page, and it's going to analyze what's currently sitting inside OU Campus compared to that version. And then it's going to give me these additional highlightings to let me know what's changed here. Anything that's green with the underline, like this up here or this guy down here, that's stuff that's been added into OU Campus. Anything with the red strike through, that's stuff that has been removed from OU Campus. And anything in the blue text, that's text that appears in both versions, but the formatting inside OU Campus has changed. So we put the bold, italicized, and underlining on them, so I can see the formatting has changed here. So just a nice quick overhead view for me to be able to see highlighted what's changed here. Back to edit. We'll go ahead and open up that editable region again. And let's continue down and talk about some common editing practices that as an editor you may be responsible for. So oftentimes I see editors need to add images to pages. So notice this image over here, placed on the right-hand side, and it's allowing the text to fill in next to it. I like that view. Maybe I want to put another picture over here and have the text again fill in on the right-hand side. So I'm going to place my cursor where I would like this text to be, and then there are two different ways I can navigate to my insert image. There is an icon in my toolbar, kind of looks like a little mountain with a little sun in the background. I can click on that. This will give me my insert/edit image box. I can also just right-click where my cursor is. Notice I get an option here for insert/edit image. Either way, it is going to bring me to that same box. Source is going to be, well, which image do you want? And I do have a little browse button over here, so I can navigate through OU Campus to find the images that I'm looking for. Up here at the top, I do have a breadcrumb that tells me where I am in the folder structure. So I can see right now, I just click the button. I'm inside the site that is Galena. I'm inside a folder called _resources, inside another folder called images, and inside another folder called campus. This default location can actually be set by my administrator. So if your particular section or your pages that you're responsible for, you have a specific folder where all your images are kept, you can contact your administrator to ask them to set that as the default. I have my listing of different images here. I'm clicking on any one of them. I can see them previewed on the right-hand side. So, oh, that's a nice one. Some additional information about the file down at the bottom. And in the bottom right-hand corner, I can just go ahead and click Insert. Notice when I do that, I kind of get this weirdo thing inside my source text box here. This double curly braces with a letter and a string of numbers is something we call a dependency tag. So inside OU Campus, the system in the background is keeping track of all of your content. So every page, every file, every PowerPoint, every document, everything. If it lives inside OU Campus, the system is going to keep track of it. It does this to make sure that links and images always stay connected. So in the event that you needed to, say, reorganize your folder structure, move a couple things around, or if I needed to rename images or pages, well, without Dependency Manager working, it's possible that those links or those images may end up broken on your live site because it's not where it expected it to be. Using Dependency Manager, it keeps track of this little dependency tag. So it doesn't matter where I put that image file, it doesn't matter what I call it, the system will keep track of it and will update any link to it to make sure I never have those broken tags on it. So that's what I'm seeing here. I can still confirm directly underneath it, I do have the file path. So I can still see, yes, Burgess Hall, that is the picture that I wanted. Now at this point, if I wanted to just kind of get rolling from here, if I try to just hit OK and be done, you're going to notice that my description field is required. This is for accessibility purposes. So whenever I have a live page, images should have alt text. It allows screen readers to have some text to read when it's going over the page for people with visual disabilities. So I use this description field to fill in that alt text. So I'm going to want to make sure I have something here. I'm going to go ahead and just list this as Burgess Hall. Tooltip is kind of like when I hover over any of these icons in my toolbar. It gives me this little pop-up that has a little bit of text in it. That's what a tooltip is. If I hover over the image, it'll pop up some text. It's not a required field, but I like to have it here. And honestly, I like it to be really just the same thing I had for my description. So again, my keyboard shortcuts work here. So I'm going to click and hold and highlight this text. Control or Command C to copy. I'll place my cursor in the tooltip field. Control or Command V to paste. Perfect. Dimensions have to do with the size of the image. So the dimensions that it's first coming in as are the dimensions of the actual image. But I could resize it on the page itself if I wanted to. I never recommend resizing larger than the image's original size. If you do that, there's a chance that it could come stretched out and pixelated, and you don't want that to happen. But resizing smaller absolutely works. So maybe I want to shrink this down a little bit. Maybe make it 450. As long as constrained proportions is checked, watch what happens when I click outside of this box. The second box automatically updates. So it'll keep that aspect ratio locked in. My last two fields here, class and ID, those will be used depending upon your site design. So there are some sites that require classes to be applied to images or specific IDs to be applied to certain nodes. My design here inside the sandbox isn't utilizing either of those, so I'm just going to leave them as they are. So all the information that I've specified here has to do with which image I'm going to be using, but I haven't specified how I want it to appear on the page. To specify that, I'm going to go over to this Appearance tab. Notice I get a little bit of a preview over here on the right-hand side. And I can see right now my image is on the left. That's where I want it to be. But notice that this first line of text has this big white space over it. I'd rather have all of the text kind of fill in next to it. So I can achieve that through alignment. From that drop-down, I'm going to choose alignment left. I'm going to watch my text now fill in over here. So that's perfect. My picture and my text are just a little bit squished. I think I want to put a little bit of spacing in between these two. So over here for my horizontal space option, I'm just going to type the number 10 and then click anywhere else inside the box to watch this preview update. Perfect. So now I have some extra spacing right here in between my image and my text. But in doing that, it also puts some space on the other side in the picture. I don't think that's really necessary. I think I want to get rid of that extra space over here. Down here at the bottom, I have an additional field called Style. So for you techie people out there, this is the CSS rules that are going to be applied in line to this image node. So if you have particular CSS styles that you don't want to apply, you could just add them here. I can use these fields up here. It'll auto-populate the rules for me, but I can manually change them. So this is that extra spacing that's on the left side of my picture. So I'm just going to take this whole guy and delete it out. Again, clicking anywhere else inside the box, I'll watch that preview update. Perfect. So now my image is left justified. I have some nice spacing over on the right. I think we're looking good. I'll go ahead and hit OK. All right. So my picture is lined up the way I want it. It's a little bit bigger than I had hoped for. That's okay. Clicking on the picture, notice that Insert/Edit Image icon gets that additional highlighting. I can click on it and it'll open up this space again, so I can make edits or changes to the description or to the dimensions as I see fit. But there is another way that I can change the sizing. Notice when I have this image highlighted, I get these little bumpers in the corners. These will allow me to go ahead and resize. So I'm going to click and hold and just shrinky-dink it down until I get it to be about the size that I wanted it to be. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. There. Perfect. So now I have my image appropriately sized and aligned on my page. All right. One of the other things that I often see used inside basic editing of your web pages has to do with adding links. So I'm going to place my cursor at the end of the sentence. I'm going to put in a couple of links here. So A couple of different types of links you can add. I could link to pages that are part of my website. So those are pages that are hosted inside OU Campus. I could link to documents like PDFs, PowerPoints, Excel spreadsheets, any of that. I can also link to external pages, things that are not part of my website, but they're out there somewhere on the web. The general process for doing any of those is the same. So let's say I wanted to link to another page that was part of my website. So maybe I want to put a note in here to talk about how people can kind of sign up for athletics. Sign up for athletics on our athletics page. And I want to make these two words the link itself. So I'm going to click and hold and highlight that text. This will become the link. And then a couple of different ways I can insert the link. I have a little icon here that looks like a little set of chain links. It says insert/edit link. I could click on that, or I could right click on this text, and I have this option here for insert/edit link. Either way is going to get me to this particular pop-up. URL is asking me, well, where do you want it to link to? And because I'm going to be linking to a page that is managed inside OU Campus, I'm going to click the Browse button. When I first browse for a link, it's going to start at the same level my current page is located at. So here's my library page. That's where I am right now. I'm inside the academics folder. Now I want to take a step backwards so I can get a little bit higher up in my folder structure. To do that, in this breadcrumb, I'm just going to go one level back and click. I'm now at the Galena level. Notice the little house at the top. That tells me I'm at the root of my site. And from here, I can see all the folders that exist here. There's my athletics folder. I'll go ahead and click on that guy. Now I'm inside that athletics folder. So if I want to send people into the section, I'll probably send them into my index page. They'll get dropped off there, and then they can get some more information and navigate appropriately. Preview on the right-hand side makes me, or gives me confirmation that yes, this is my athletics page. That's what I want. Bottom right-hand corner, insert. Again, I'm going to see that dependency tag listed here, but again, directly underneath it, I have that file path. Text to display is the actual words on the page that are going to be the link. So we already preset that, so that's all good. Title is kind of like a tooltip for an image. If I hover over this link, it'll give me a little bit of text that kind of explains some more things to me. I like to use the title to explain where you're about to go if you click on this link. So this is going to send you to the athletics index page. Target has to do with how you want this link to open, and you have a couple choices. A target of none means open this link in the exact same tab in the exact same window. This works really well if I'm linking to a page like this one that is part of my website. I'm still inside the school website, I'm just navigating to the appropriate place. A target of new window is going to open this in a new tab or new window, depending upon what browser the person is in. A new window target works really well if I'm navigating off of my website. So if I'm opening up a document, if I'm sending you off of our domain, opening it in a new window is a good idea because it means I still keep that original tab that has the school website in it. So for this example, because we are still inside the website, I'll choose a target of none. And then class here, again, is dependent upon what your website design looks like. I have seen some schools who have classes that can be applied to links that turn those links into buttons or give extra stylizing or put little icons on it or something like that. So if your design has anything like that, you may be using this class drop down here. My design does not, so I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. Perfect. So here's my standard stylizing for my link. I can see hovering over it, there's my title. But if you'll notice inside this editable region, if I try to click on it, it doesn't actually bring me anywhere. It's because placing my cursor here inside allows me to actually open up that insert/edit link again. this is still the editable experience. So it's not going to link anywhere while I'm inside this editable region. It's going to allow me to be able to continue editing it. All right, so the same generalized idea if I'm going to be sending someone off the website. So maybe for more information about financing your education, visit FAFSA. Maybe I want to make this FAFSA the link itself. Again, click and hold and highlight on the text. And again, I can either click on this icon or right-click insert/edit link. Either way, it brings me here. So I'm going to go ahead and send people to FAFSA.gov. Text to display is set up. There's my title. This will send you to the FAFSA website. Now, because I'm sending them off of my school website, I'm going to choose a target of new window. All right. Back up here to the URL. When I'm about to send someone to an external link like this URL actually needs to be fully qualified, meaning it needs that HTTP or the HTTPS at the beginning. Notice I didn't put it in there, but that's okay. The system's pretty smart. If I hit OK, it's going to catch it. It's going to tell me, it looks like you entered a web URL. Do you want us to just put that HTTP at the beginning? And I'm going to say, why, yes. Thank you for doing all the work. I appreciate that. So now I have that link all set up too. Something you'll notice down here at the bottom, it is possible to link to email. So this is called a mail to link. So maybe I want to add something in here for more information about trading. Contact me. And I want my name to be that mail to link. So this one's set up a little bit different. Because it's a mail to, I use a slightly different icon. It's a little envelope. Clicking on that is going to ask me for the email address. And it's going to ask me for the default subject. Again, if your design came with a class for mail to links, you could choose it here. Otherwise, just hit OK. And I have that link all set up here. Perfect. All right. A couple other things I want to mention as we're talking about our editable regions here. I want you to notice something about our toolbar. Up here at the top, I have save and exit. I have exit without saving. So as I'm going through all of my changes here, you're going to want to make sure that you save on a regular basis, just so that we don't lose anything. Save and exit will take you out of the editable region. So if you're working on a really long page and you're down here at the bottom, you hit save and exit, you're down at the bottom, now you got to scroll all the way back up to open it again, to scroll all the way back down to get back to where you were. Remember your keyboard shortcuts. I don't have to exit in order to save. Control or Command S will save inside this space. Notice I get the status bar at the end, so I can confirm, yep, I have gone ahead and saved. So I can save my work regularly as I go. In the event that you should suddenly get disconnected, so maybe your internet suddenly goes down for a moment and you lose your browser, or you accidentally kick the plug out of the outlet and your computer suddenly shuts down. If you are in the middle of editing, don't panic. You have an extra button here that looks like a little life preserver. This is the Restore Last Draft. So in the event you're suddenly disconnected from OU Campus, turn everything back on, log back in, come back here, open up the editable region, and clicking this button will bring back that last draft. The system automatically holds on to it for about 20 minutes. So you have some time to be able to get back here and just restore it. Perfect. All right. Let's talk about some fancy stuff inside OU Campus. We have things called reusable content. Reusable content is a way to simplify your editing experience and help you to make sure that information is consistent across the site. We do have two different types of reusable content. We have assets and we have snippets. An asset is a piece of content that is controlled centrally. So here's a good example of when I would use an asset. It's fall of 2018, and tuition number has just been updated. So I'm going to take that number, I'm going to place it all over the site. It's going to be on the financial aid page, the scholarships page, the admissions page. It's going to be everywhere. Come fall of 2019, if my tuition number gets updated, well, it's kind of important that the number is correct across the entire site. That's an excellent opportunity to use an asset. Assets are pieces of content that live in a central location called the asset manager. From there, they can be updated and changed. And then I can take the asset and place it on individual pages. It can't be edited on individual pages, so no one can accidentally delete a 0 from the tuition number on a page itself. It's locked in. But it means that it's all linked back to that central asset. So when I need to change it come fall of 2019, I change it in one place, and that change actually sprinkles out to every page I've put it on. The icon for an asset is this set of arrows moving in a square. And opening it up, I have a handful of different assets here. The assets that you'll see in your final implementation are going to be customized to your design. So you may see more or less. Handful of different ways that I can filter between my different assets. So if this list starts to get pretty large, I can filter by tag. Tags are a way inside OU Campus to tag content. Just makes it easy to search for later. I can filter by name, or I can also filter by the type of asset it is. So web content, plain text, and source code, those three guys are part of our base implementation. Image galleries and forms, those are part of our live delivery platform. So let's say we take a look at a source code asset. And it looks like down here I have this Omni Update Twitter feed. So this asset is going to take our Omni Update Twitter and give me this listing feed on my page. It's going to look pretty cool. Notice on the right-hand side, it does actually look like source code. Don't worry, I cannot edit it. So I'm not going to accidentally break it. I'm not going to have to interact with the source code at all. I'm just going to put it on the page and it's going to do what it does. Bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to click Insert. And we're going to see it inside this editable region. You're going to think, that is the ugliest Twitter feed you have ever seen. That is accurate. What I'm seeing here inside my editable region is an acknowledgement. Remember, my assets cannot be edited on the page itself. So this is telling me, yes, you've placed an asset here. No, you cannot edit it here. So to see it rendered, I'm just going to go ahead and save and exit. Perfect. Now all my source code is acting, it's pulling in information, so I can see, here's my Twitter feed all coming down. All of it happening in the background. I didn't need to know any source code in order to make it work. Not bad. We often use source code for listings like this. So your implementation may see it for social media type things. You may have it for news or for blogs or for calendars. So keep an eye on those source code assets. They can be very, very useful. So that's an asset. The other type of reused content we have is a snippet. A snippet is editable on a page-by-page basis. It allows you to adjust the content, but it locks in the design and the style. So let me give you a good example of when I would use a snippet. Let's say our Alumni Association is running a new campaign, and they want to place a quotation by an alumni on the bottom of every single page. They don't want it to be the same quote. That would be super boring. They want it to be different on every page, but they want the styling to be the same. So they want to make sure that they have the same big swooshy quotes with the same colored background, and the text should be this big and italicized and centered like this and offset like this, and very, very specific, very particular. That's an excellent opportunity to use a snippet. Snippets allow you to put in content, but are locked so that way you don't accidentally break it. So I don't accidentally delete pieces or parts of code that are super important. Instead, I just put in the content and it fills it in for me. So for my snippet here, the icon to insert a snippet is a little puzzle piece. Up at the top, again, I have some filtering options, and I'm going to call out to you guys this categories list. We use snippets, especially for complex design pieces. So if your implementation has sliders or animations or accordions or cards or anything like that that's really nice design on the page, we'll probably set it up as a snippet just to make sure your editors can edit the content but not accidentally break it. The categories allow us to specify where this particular snippet was intended to go. So oftentimes there's special design features that are only supposed to be on your homepage. They're usually big, full width, they call a lot of attention. They're the kind of thing that you want to keep restricted to your homepage and not have all over the place. So we'll often have a category called homepage or home or something like that. Sometimes you're going to have design elements that are specifically for a certain type of page, maybe for a faculty directory or for a news page. Again, we can use categories to sort those. So keep an eye on those categories in your implementation. It'll let you know where the snippet is intended to go. And sometimes your snippets may not work if they're placed on a page that it wasn't intended for. So just keep that in mind. I have two different categories here. Email Campaign Manager is one of the modules we have, but generic is going to be the listing of all the other snippets. These will work on any of my page types. Up at the top, I have an accordion, so I'm going to go ahead and insert that. All right, so you're going to notice here inside my editable region, my accordion looks like a table. I have individual table cells, and this is where I update content. So maybe for this heading 1, I'm going to change this to say Barbara's heading. And then for this content, this is the content that Barbara added to the accordion. All right. When I save and exit, the system in the background will take the content from each one of these cells and place it in the appropriate place in the code to make it display in the accordion. So let's hit save and exit. And here's my accordion. Each one of these guys operating correctly, opens and closes. All of my HTML nodes are still intact, but I can easily edit the content that's inside of it. Perfect. Scrolling back up to the top, we're going to open up that editable region one more time. So those processes that we've seen when we're making edits, I've been showing you guys the toolbar. But we actually do have some additional ways that you can add things into your editable region. It all comes down to your preference. Well, from the right-hand side, notice I have this little plug icon. This is my list of gadgets. Gadgets are contextual, and they are also customizable on a person-by-person basis. So I can hide certain gadgets if I don't use them often, or I can show them if I do. When you first open up your gadget sidebar, clicking on the little gear will show you the listing of all the gadgets that are available to you. So you can turn on or off specific gadgets as you see fit here. I have all of mine turned on just so I can show them to you. And what I want to point out is this handful of gadgets over here. Notice I can just click and drag and shift my gadgets, put them in any order that I want. It's mine, it's customizable. I can put it how I want it. So we had talked about how to insert an image by clicking on the insert/edit image, or right-clicking, clicking insert/edit image. But I can also use a gadget sidebar for it. Opening this up, I get a preview of all the images in a little thumbnail. I can click on it to be able to see a slightly larger version of it. If I click insert, it'll place it wherever I last had my cursor. But I can also click and drag and drop images directly onto it. Still have to put in that description field. So this is the West Campus building. But I can just drop it in. I don't think I necessarily wanted it right there. So let's give myself another place. I'm just going to click, drag, and drop it there instead. So this drag and drop functionality works for my images, for my assets, and even for my snippets over here. I can just click and drag and drop it into my editable region. So it all comes down to your preference, where your comfort level is, and how you'd like to see all the pieces put in. All right, so I've made a lot of changes. Let's go ahead and save and exit. Perfect. After I've decided everything looks great, perfect, I'm ready, I can go ahead and publish it out. Clicking on that Publish button, I'm going to have an option for page checks. There are 4 different page checks available, but your administrators may have some turned on or off. As we go through and talk about them, my spelling check is going to show me a listing of any spelling errors. Excuse me. So I can see right here, FAFSA is not currently included as part of my dictionary. My particular user does have the ability to add to dictionary, but that is a person-by-person permission. So I can go ahead and click Add to Dictionary, and I'd be able to add it in. The link check will check over the whole page, and it's going to look for any links and just make sure that they're working appropriately. What I want to focus on is this Production tab. What I'm really looking for here is to make sure that my production version, my live web page, can reach these pages. Scrolling down a little bit, I see right here, there's that link that's throwing the warning. That was the FAFSA.gov that we had put in ourselves. And it's throwing a status called found 302. That's a redirect. It's telling me that it tried to go to that original URL. It was redirected somewhere else, but it did eventually find the page. That's because FAFSA.gov is actually now at HTTPS. That's okay, because the redirect's still in place, the link still works on the live site, so I'm not going to worry about it. W3C validation is looking through the code of the page to determine if all of the code is meeting HTML5 standards. Any errors that you're going to see here do need to be fixed in source code. And finally, my accessibility check. Accessibility check is going to check against the guideline that the administrator has specified. And it actually is in 3 different types of problems. A known problem is going to be a problem that is apparent in source code. So a good example of a known problem is going to be like a header nesting issue. So on your live page, the order that you put your headers is very important for accessibility purposes. You really only want one H1 on the page, and then after that you want an H2, and then following that should be an H3, and it should go in order. But if you're kind of jumping around and you have an H1 and then an H4 and then an H2, then another H1, now it's out of order. That would be kicked up as a known problem because it's in the source code the system can confirm that it is an issue. Potential problems, and the last category that we don't have any of, are called likely problems. These are things that require a human to look at. So it's often things that might be throwing an error, but we may just need a person to take a look at it and make sure. So taking a look at this first one, it tells me link text may not be meaningful. So I'm taking a look at this link. This is my logo. It's probably that top logo in the top corner up here. It has some alt text on it. It has the name of my university. And it's telling me here that my link text may not be meaningful. Well, I don't actually have any text that are part of this link. It's really an image that I'm using, but I'm doing that purposefully because it's my logo. So this is as I intended it to be. So it's not really a problem because it is the design intention. So this is one of those situations where this particular problem isn't really a problem for the way that I'm using it. So I'm not going to worry about this one. All right, after I've gone through all of my different results, from here I can go ahead and create a version description. So every time I publish the page, it will automatically create a version. If this page is one that gets updated frequently, it's not going to be very long before you have a couple hundred versions of your page. And it's going to come to a point where you're looking at the different versions list, and you're not going to remember off the top of your head what the difference between 127 and 128 are. That's why I use a version description. Just adds a little bit of information, so that way you can take a look at that list and know, oh, this is what I changed on this version. So I'm going to say made updates for October monthly orientation. And in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to click Publish. I'll get a status bar across the bottom, and then as soon as the publish goes through, it turns into that green check. And notice I have a link in the status bar. This is going to open the live page, so I can now see all of the changes that I've made are out in live. Quick scroll, there's my accordion, here's my Twitter feed. All the way at the bottom of my Twitter feed There's my last accordion with the Barbara's heading. Perfect. Back inside OU Campus, I want to point out to you guys, notice the light bulb is now turned off. The only time a page will automatically check back into the system is when it gets published. If I check this page out to myself and I log out, it will stay checked out to me. There are going to be situations where you may be editing a page for multiple days. Maybe you need to take some time and really ruminate over that page to make it perfect. The system will not automatically check it back in. But this means if I accidentally checked out a page, I'm not keeping an eye on it, it's possible that I start kind of sitting on pages for a while. So I want to point out a gadget to you for that. There's a gadget called My Checked Out Content. I love this gadget. Me personally, every single time I'm inside OU Campus, the last thing I do before I log out is I check this gadget. Opening it up, it'll give me a listing of all of the pages in the site that are checked out to me. If I'm looking at this page and I think, I don't really remember which this page is, this path actually is a link. So if I wasn't sitting on this page, I could click here and it would bring me there. So I could take a look at it to see, do I need this page or do I not? If I decide I don't need this page, I can click the light bulb right here. Watch what happens on the page. It checks it back into the system. So I can just keep an eye on that My Checked Out content just to make sure that I'm not accidentally grabbing pages and holding on to them when I don't actually need them. This way, this page is now back in the system and available to anyone who might need it. All right, so we talked about how to edit our editable regions. So I have this big region over here. My design also has this little region over here. Your design may be different. It's all depending upon your design. So I've seen some schools who have just one great big region. I've seen some schools with 7 different regions in different places on the page. It all just depends. But you are going to notice that there are some things on this page that I cannot edit here. So outside of my editable regions, the word library right here, can't edit. My breadcrumb, my side navigation, this header at the top, and all the way at the bottom, the footer down here. Those pieces are controlled in slightly different places, and it all depends how those pieces of information are pulled in. Things like my page heading here, well, that's unique to the page. It's still going to be controlled on the page, but it's in a slightly different location. As long as the page is checked out to me, when I click Properties, I'll have this option called Parameters. If the page is not checked out to me, I will not see parameters. So just keep that in mind. That option has to be available to me because I'm now in a view where I can make edits and changes. Up at the top, I see my title and metadata information. So I have title and description. I see a lot of schools have keywords now as well. And I also have a listing of tags. So these are pieces of content that I have tagged just to make it easier to search for later. Continuing down, here's my page heading that says library. So if I wanted to change this to the Barbara McQuillan Library, I could update that here. Bottom right-hand corner, save. And now my heading is updated. So there are other things that I can do inside that properties view too. On my design, I have options to turn on and off different regions. It all depends upon your design, what other options you may see in here. Now, turning things on and off can be done from here, but honestly, I like to be able to see the page while I'm making those changes. So I'm going to go back to my edit view, and I'm going to open up that gadget sidebar again. And this time, I'm going to grab the page parameters gadget and open that up. And you're going to notice all of the fields that we just saw are the same fields that are over here. There's title and description, there are the tags. Here's that page heading that we just updated. And now I have the option of these different regions to turn on and off. So here's my left column options. That's these guys here. My navigation is turned on, but my quick links is turned off. So let's turn that on and hit save. And now in my design, I get this additional little region here. I have some right column options. Right now the whole column is turned off. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Now I have another column over here. This one has quick links. It has a content region. What's my top? Ooh, I could have another directory navigation over here. All right. So I have a whole bunch of different options here. I can turn the different regions on and off. These are controlled in a different location because these are separated out based upon your user level. In order to see the parameters, my user needs to be a level 5 or above. So if you are a level 4 or below, it means you're going to be making adjustments to content using your editable regions and turning on and off things if your site and design support it would be something you'd need someone at a higher level to help. All right, so that's how I'd make some of those changes. Let's talk about the side navigation. Side navigation is usually section-based. So everything inside my academic section is going to be included in this navigation. Now, that may differ depending upon your site design. The file that contains all the information for this section is held separately from this page. So I'm going to need to navigate through my folder structure now. A couple of different ways that I can get to my list view that's going to show me all of my pages and files. I can click on this little button that just says pages right here, or I can hover over content, go to pages. Either way, I'm going to see this listing. These are all the files that live inside my academic section. Notice here's my library page, still checked out to me. I can tell because my light bulb is turned on. The rest of the pages in here, these are other pages that are part of the website. And then up at the top, I have this side nav file. This file is what, for my design, is controlling that side navigation. So if I open it up, I'm going to see library, study abroad, final exam schedule. Let's take a look at that side navigation on my live page, library, study abroad, final exam schedule. So if I needed to make changes to my side navigation, I could do it here. My header and the footer of my pages, those are actually used globally. So usually across my entire site. So they are controlled in a slightly different location. Oftentimes, administrators are going to have that location locked just to make sure that no one accidentally gets in there and changes things that don't need to be changed yet. But to get to those files, oftentimes, they're going to be located in a resources section. So from my pages list view, notice I have this little house up here at the top. This will bring me to the root of my site. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I have a folder called _resources. And inside that, I have a folder called includes. And notice for mine, I have separate files for my header and my footer, separate folders here. My header is actually split into a bunch of different pieces. So I have a contact.inc file here. Opening it up, it's a call us today and an info at Galena University. If I go to my live page, that file is controlling these two guys, these two, that one, haha. So that's controlling just these two. Back to my pages list view, I have my logo. That's controlling this logo up here. I have my top nav, calendar, directory A through Z. There's my calendar, directory A through Z. So notice on my site, each one of these pieces is separated out into a different file. I've seen some schools that have it set up like that. I've seen some schools that have it all together in one big file. So it all depends upon your design. But oftentimes, headers, footers, global resources like that, they're going to be in a location like this. All right, back to my pages list view. Let's go back inside that academics directory. So we've talked about editing pages. I can log in using my direct edit link, open up an editable region, make changes as necessary. And that's great as long as the page already exists. But there may be situations where I need to create new pages. So up here at the top, I have this option for plus new. Clicking plus new is going to give me a listing of all of the different templates that are available to me. These templates are going to create different page types. So for our new page, maybe I want it to be a 3-column. Notice my cute little thumbnail, so I can see it has all 3 of those regions turned on. So I'm going to click the 3-column page. and it's going to give me this form field. Depending upon your design, you may have more questions here. So some of the more complicated pages, some more complicated designs, they may have a whole bunch of different fields that you fill in here, and then it will use that to build out the page. So my page title up here, I'm going to call this Barbara's Amazing Page. Whenever you have form fields, we're putting in this helper text underneath it for you. I'm going to admit I am the worst person at ever reading helper text. I much prefer to put things into the field and watch it error out and then try to figure it out later. But I will tell you, your actual implementation, our team has created helper text specifically for you. So if there are fields for your design that are required or that are optional or that need a specific file type or whatever other really important information needs to be communicated, we'll include it in the helper text. So I do recommend, especially as you're getting up and used to OU Campus, read that helper text. It's really helpful. So this is telling me that it's going to be used by search engines in the web browser. So having capitals with an apostrophe and spaces, that's okay here. My description, this is for SEO purposes. My file name here, it's going to tell me use only lowercase letters, underscores, or dashes. So I can't structure my page file name the same way I structure the page title. So I'm just going to get rid of all of the page or the spaces, all of the capitals, all of the apostrophes, and just kind of crunch it together. My design allows me to add navigation item, which means when I create this page, it will automatically add a link to this page in my site navigation. I'm going to leave that set to yes. It's one less thing I have to do. In the bottom right-hand corner, I'm just going to click Create. Perfect. So now I have my page created. Notice I have my editable regions again, so I can just open up an editable region, start editing as we go. Notice on my side navigation, there's my amazing page all set up, so that looks good. After I make all my changes, I'm just going to go ahead and publish it out. And now, notice inside OU Campus, I see 4 options in my side navigation. Let's take a look at that live page. My 4th option isn't here. It still just has the 3. Now, that's done on purpose. Inside OU Campus, that link to this amazing page is all queued up. It's ready to go. But I may not be ready for the world to see this page yet. I may not want it on that side navigation yet. I'm still working on it. I want to make sure that it's perfect, that it's pristine. So I can make edits and changes, make updates, test it out, see how it looks. And only when I'm ready do I need to add it to my side navigation. To do that, I can go back to my Pages list view. Let's open up that side navigation again. There it is. So all I need to do now is publish out my side navigation. Publish. Perfect. Now that I've published out the side navigation, let's go back to my live page, and I'm going to do a quick refresh by clearing my cache. And there it is. So I can wait until I'm ready, and then at that point, add it to the side navigation. Perfect. Sometimes I may need to create more than simply a page. Maybe I'll need an entire section. So when I hit the plus new, I want to just point out your thumbnail pictures are probably different than mine in your actual implementation, but the actual icon that looks like a folder, I'm seeing it a whole bunch of different places. I see it up here. I see it for new section. I see it for new blog subsite. I've seen schools that have it for new faculty directory sections and news sections and all sorts of stuff. And I want to kind of call out an important distinction between any of the folders that I see in these templates and this create new folder up here. In order for my web pages to work appropriately, most implementations that I've seen require helper files. Side navigation, sometimes there's prop files, sometimes there's additional file types. It's all dependent upon your design. But this helper file is required in order for my pages to render correctly. When I hit plus new, create new folder is going to give me a blank folder. There's going to be nothing in it. This is ideal for storing things like images, documents, things like that. It's just for organizational purposes. So you have a place to put all those binary files. Web pages will not work correctly in here because they don't have the helper files. So if I'm going to create something just for organization, create new folder works. But if I'm planning on putting web pages into it, I need a section. I'm going to name it subsection. That'll be the name of the folder itself. And then inside, it's going to create an index page for me. So this page title is going to be the subsection index page. Again, descriptions for SEO purposes. Add navigation item will automatically add it to my side navigation. I'll leave that set to yes, so it does all the work for me. And I'll hit create. Perfect. I land on that index page. But if I come back to my pages list view, it created the side navigation at the same time. That's the benefit of creating it as a section. All of the helper files that are necessary will be created at the same time. Perfect. All right, in order to get all of this published out, I do need to publish out the whole thing. And I'm actually going to publish out that side navigation as well, just to make sure that everything gets published together. So back here inside my subsection, I'll choose each one of these files in here and publish them. And then to make sure it appears on the side navigation, I need to publish this side nav too. Perfect. Now back to my live site, quick refresh. There's my subsection index page. And here I am inside that subsection index. Perfect. All right. The last thing I want to show you guys during our session today has to do with uploading files. So we've seen how we create new pages, but how do we get new images, new documents, new things like that inside the site? Let's open up that images folder we created before. How convenient and perfect. We'll start uploading some things here. Notice up at the top, I do have this little button for upload. And clicking on that guy, I get this little plus add. So I have a bunch of different images that I have all queued up. So maybe I want to grab this one here. I'm going to go ahead and hit open, and I'll see it listed here. Now, depending upon your administration, sometimes administrators will have very specific rules about what you can name files. That's actually really important inside OU Campus. The folder file names are used as part of the URL. So remember, this library page was inside the academics folder, and I called the page library. It's built into the URL here. So it's important when you're creating things inside OU Campus that you're not using special characters that could conflict with browsers. So special characters like question marks are used for queries, or percentage symbols are used to encode characters. So if I have things like that inside my page names or my image names, it could confuse the browser. So you just want to be careful about that. So if there is a naming convention and my file doesn't apply to it, so if there's an error in it, I'll see an error message down here that'll usually tell me which characters are allowed. Hovering over the row, I can rename it right here. So maybe I want to give this something a little bit descriptive. I'm going to call it the bridge. I do need to leave the file extension. I still need to tell the system what type of image this is. So don't get rid of that. Perfect. Clicking anywhere else will lock in the image name. Bottom right-hand corner, I'll click Start Upload. Perfect. Now, that drag and drop functionality that we were seeing before, that's available for uploads too. So from this view, let's go ahead and open up my folder. Oh, the picture that I uploaded wasn't the bridge. It was the Joshua tree. That's okay. Hovering over the bridge, hovering over file, I can rename stuff in here too. So let's fix that right now. We'll rename it Joshua tree. Perfect. It's like it never happened. So now let's talk about uploading things. So here's my images. So maybe I'll grab this picture of the mountains. When I click and drag. Notice when I get to a droppable location, the outside of this box highlights green. So I can drop things right here. I can also actually drop things right here. So maybe I'll grab these skydivers. As soon as I get into a droppable location, notice that I have that green highlighting. I can drop it here. Perfect. Quick upload. I have all the images that I need here. Now, some of these images are a little bit big. So looking at this Joshua tree, 223 kilobytes. Let's open that guy up. Yeah, it's pretty big. This may be a little bit too big to fit on my typical pages. So I may want to do some photo editing, which you can do inside OU Campus. So you have some basic photo editing options. So you do have the ability to rotate the image. So for those of you out there who actually take pictures with a camera, sometimes the images come out portrait when they're supposed to be landscape, or landscape when they're supposed to be portrait. You can fix it. I can also resize my images. So this is a little bit big. Maybe I'm going to shrink it down so it's going to be 500 for width. Notice my height updates automatically because preserve ratio is checked. To make this change apply to the picture, I'm just going to click resize. Perfect. I can also crop my image. So maybe I don't need any of this extra space over here. I'll shift my crop and then click apply crop, and I'll see that applied to my picture. Perfect. All right, down at the bottom right-hand corner, I have 3 different options here. Cancel is going to undo all the changes that I just made. The image will be back to the way it was. Save as will take this image and save it as a new image. So I keep the original. And then save will overwrite over this original picture. This will be its new version. I'm going to click save as, and I do just need to give it a rename. So I'm going to call this Joshua Tree Small and save. Perfect. Back to my pages list view. Notice my original Joshua Tree is still checked out to me. I'm going to want to check that back into the system just to make sure it's available if anyone else needs it. And now, most things in OU Campus, in order to use it on a live page, they need to be published out. That way my production server has access to those files. So for all 4 of these pictures, I need to publish them. I'm going to select my whole list right here and just click publish. Publish. Perfect. So now all of these images are available on my production server. I can confirm that actually up here. On the right-hand side, I have 2 tabs. Staging is OU Campus. Production is my production server. So I can see all 4 of them exist here. Perfect. Back to staging. Now I can place these guys on a page. But let's be honest. This is awesome. This is excellent. This is not the moment where you're normally going to realize that you don't have the image you need. You're going to be on a page. You're going to be inside an editable region. Let's scoot this down a little bit. We'll even take that guy out, give us a little bit more room. Perfect. You're going to be here. You're going to be inside the insert/edit image box. You're going to be browsing. This is the moment that you're going to realize the picture that you needed isn't here. Let's start by navigating to that folder I just created. So I'm already kind of further down deep because of the default folder. So I'm going to come back out to my Galena level, open up academics, open up images. There's the 4 that we just put in. If I'm looking here and I realize, oh, the picture that I needed, it's not here, that's okay. I can upload directly from here. So maybe this time I'll go ahead and add this windmills picture. So I haven't put this one in yet. This will be new. There it is, right here in the same folder I'm just looking at. See the preview on the right-hand side. I'm going to hit insert. I do need a description. And I'll hit OK. Perfect. So there's my windmills picture. And you know what? I'm going to add at the top here, maybe that small Joshua tree picture that we put in and edited. That guy. All right. So now I have these 2 pictures here. They both look really nice right here inside the editable region. But I want to point something out to you. Watch what happens when I hit save and exit. My Joshua tree picture is coming out fine, but notice my windmills picture. That's looking a little weird here, and it's because this view is the most realistic representation that OU Campus can give you of what this page would look like right now on your production server. Because I haven't published out that windmills picture yet, it's not available on my production server, which means that if I had this page there right now, it'd look like a broken picture. But that's actually okay. Inside the system, you do have the ability to publish the page and the picture at the same time. When I go to hit publish, notice now I have this additional option for publish options. And it's going to give me this choice to include unpublished dependencies. So essentially what's happening here is the system is looking at the page and realizing that you're linking to something or there's an image on the page that isn't on production yet. We know which picture it is, but if you're not sure, you can always click View Files and it'll give you the list. Yep, there's my windmills picture. So by having this box checked, I'm telling it publish these at the same time you publish this page. So that way my live page will have all the resources it needs to display appropriately. So I'm going to say added new images and I'm going to hit publish. Perfect. I have a link here for view a new window. There's my windmills picture. It's looking perfect here. Back inside OU Campus, to fix that broken image, I just need to give it a quick refresh. Allow the system to look at that production server again. It'll find the picture, and there's my windmills. Excellent. All right. Some other basic things that I have on my page. In properties, I have this option for reminders. So on an individual page, I can set a reminder for myself or really for any group that I'm a part of. A scheduled reminder is going to send out a message on a specific date at a specific time. This is super useful for pages that maybe aren't updated all that frequently. So maybe this is a page that I only update like every 6 months, and maybe last time I kind of forgot about it, so it may have been a day or two late. I can set a reminder for myself a week from today, and I'll have it come in at, say, ooh, wrong way, maybe 11 a.m. And then I can customize what I want the message to say. I can send it myself, or if there are groups that I'm a part of, I'll see them listed here too. Subject, message, and I even have the option to be able to send a copy of this to my email. So I don't have to live inside OU Campus. As long as my email is a part of my user profile, it can send me that external email and then it'll remind me there. So this is setting it on a particular date and time. I also have the option of a stale reminder. A stale reminder is essentially going to keep an eye on the page and make sure that it gets updated regularly. So it will take a look at the last published date. So notice I just published it today. And maybe I want to make sure this page is updated at the very least every 2 weeks. I can say every 14 days. So starting today, the system's going to start counting. If it ever reaches day 14, it'll send out this reminder that I can customize to say, just come back in, make sure this information gets updated. If at some point next week, I make an adjustment or a change to it, publish out the page, the system will start again counting from 0 and start counting up from there. So keep an eye on the page, make sure it stays regularly updated. Perfect. Checking out the page to myself, we talked about versions, but I want to call out this little guy right here and this little guy right here. So as I mentioned to you, versions are automatically going to happen, automatically created when I publish the page. But what happens if you don't have that publish button? So some editors are involved in a workflow, which means instead of publishing directly, they submit the pages to someone else. Well, if I can't publish, I can still have these abilities associated with publish. I can still check the page and I can still put in versions. and I use these two buttons to do it. Page check is just those checks again. It gives them to me in a separate modal, so I can still do the same checks on the page even if I'm not able to publish. This little button here, the box with the little arrow, allows me to make a version without publishing the page. So maybe I've made a lot of changes, I'm really happy with what everything looks like, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of taking a snapshot of the page. I want to have a backup version just in case. So I can click Save Version from here. So this will be my backup version after all the changes we made for the October monthly orientation. Notice it's right here, added to my list. There's my description. Version 28 is still the live one. That's still the one that's highlighted green. So I haven't pushed this out to my live site. I've just made a version for myself. So I have it here in case I should ever need it. Perfect. All right. I think that pretty much wraps up all the things that I wanted to chat with you guys about today. Let me check my list really quick. Yeah. I'm going to take this moment now to open it up and invite any questions that you guys might have. Keep in mind some of your questions may be implementation specific. That's fine if you want to ask them, but it'll just mean that there may be some things that I'll need to follow up with you on separately. So go ahead and take a look at your Q&A. That is available at the bottom of your screen, and then you can type in any questions you might have. While we're going through that, I did just want to mention to you, for anyone who might be interested, our next monthly orientation is going to be on Friday, November 9th. Again, it'll be 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time. So if you want to just come hang out and do it again, or if there are other people at your institution that you'd like to attend, that's when we'll have it set it up. Our registration will be available from our support site. I'll probably be able to get that updated with the new link just later today. All right. If we don't have any additional questions, I'm going to thank you all for attending. The recorded presentation materials, the PowerPoint slides, are going to be available on our support site. Yeah, I want to thank you all very much and wish you a great afternoon and a great weekend.